Okay, rolling. Hello everybody, welcome to the office. Now, today's video, I want to talk about planning your landscape photography shoots, because if you are failing to plan, you are planning to fail. So, not quite true, but hear me out. Now, how many of you have been in this scenario? I know I've done this many times, and I guarantee that the picture I'm about to paint has happened to you. All right, so you've been working all week, you've been working all month, and finally you've got a free day and you think, all right, I'm going to indulge in some landscape photography. I'm going to go out, I'm going to enjoy nature, and I'm going to, get some epic images. So what you do is you start planning. You start checking Flickr, 500 pics for locations and subjects and compositions in an area you might go and visit. So you start looking at your maps and you find this area and you find this viewpoint, and then you check the weather. But the weather is being a bit uncertain. It doesn't know what it wants to do, but you've seen this epic image on 500 pics or Flickr, and you need that light to get that image, and that's where you want to go, and that's what you want to shoot, and you want to put your stamp on that image, and you want to get it at the perfect sunrise. But you get this sort of level of uncertainty, you get this doubt creeping up on you. So you thought, oh, okay, I'll check another location. So you go to check another location, maybe the beach, but the tides aren't quite right. You need a low tide and it's mid to high. So you start to question that and doubt yourself more. So you go back to the original location, but is it worth it? It's a 2-hour hike, it's a 3-hour drive. You've got to get up at 3 a.m. and it's late by now. It's 11 p.m. the day before you're supposed to be going out and having this indulgence in landscape photography, and you still haven't decided on where you want to go or what you want to shoot, because you've got all of these doubts in your mind, mainly to do with the weather and the uncertainty of the location. But you're looking at these epic images on the internet and you're worried that you're not going to get the conditions to be able to recreate these images. So you blink and it's 4 a.m. Your alarm's going off. You wake up and you still don't know where you're going to do or you want to shoot. You don't know. So you go and you pull back the curtains and you have a look outside, and there's a bit of drizzle in the air. It's a bit rainy or a bit windy or something. So you think, do you know what? It's not worth it. I'm going to go back to bed. So you go back to bed and then you wake up feeling a bit guilty and you don't end up going out with your camera. This has happened to me more times than I dare to admit. And it's all about planning. And I'm going to, in this video, tell you the best way to plan for your landscape photography shoots. Okay, roll the intro.
Today's video is sponsored by Squarespace, so if you need a website, go to squarespace.com/Heaton.
I don't have an intro. So one of the most requested videos that I get, or one of the biggest requests for topics to talk about, is planning. So whenever somebody messages me or leaves a comment or emails me saying, hey, can you make a video about how you plan your photo shoots, I always kind of come up with excuses why not to make this video. And the truth is, the reason I haven't made a video about planning for landscape photography is because I don't plan. I don't plan. I can't really, off the top of my head, think of a time when I've planned a photo shoot, gone out and executed it. It's just something I've never done. And here's the weird thing. For a long time, I would not plan, go out and just shoot whatever. And every time I got good conditions or a good image, I'd feel a bit guilty. I'd feel like I got lucky. I'd be like, oh yeah, I got lucky with that shot. And I didn't feel like a real... Sorry, the dog's barking. It's very distracting. I didn't feel like a proper photographer because I didn't plan. All right, so there's two scenarios that I want to discuss. The first scenario I've already gone through at the beginning of this video, and it's all about doubt and where you plan and things don't align up. Right? That's one scenario. Let's replay that same scenario, but with a few differences. So scenario 2, you've been working like a dog all week and you've got a day off and you want to go out and you want to shoot something. So rather than going on Flickr to find images and photo locations in your area that you can go and shoot, instead of doing that, maybe pick up a book or go on Flickr and 500 pics to look at your favorite photographer's work for inspiration, not ideas. Okay, the difference between ideas and inspiration. Ideas is something like a location that you can go and replicate, or you can do differently and put your stamp on it. Inspiration is basically something to get your photography juices flowing. Maybe have a whiskey and look through some of the great photography work that's out there, and it gets you excited for photography. Instead of checking the weather to know what the light's going to do so you can go and shoot a specific viewpoint, check the weather so you know whether or not to pack your waterproofs. That's it. Don't do anything else, all right? Oh, it's raining, better pack my waterproofs. Oh, it's going to be a bit cold, I'll pack my jacket. That's about it. That's the only reason you should be checking your weather app. Instead of checking TPE to see what direction the sunlight's going to come from and what it might illuminate, I don't know, just check it to see what time the sun rises, or you could just check that in your weather app as well. But yeah, I tend not to use TPE anymore. Right, so instead of going onto Google and typing photo location Keswick, I don't know, right? Go onto Google and type in Woodland Walk Keswick, right? So what I'm doing is, instead of trying to give myself a very specific target, a very specific viewpoint to go and shoot, I'm just giving myself a broad area to explore. I'll find the Woodland Walk, or a network of trails around the lake and through the woods, and I'll just go and hit that footpath with no expectations. And that's the key here, is expectations. When you go out with a vision in your head of what you want to happen, the chances are it's not going to happen, and that's nothing to do with you. It's just statistically isn't going to happen. Those burning sunrises don't happen very often, and this, that, and the other. So if you've got an idea of something specific in your mind, the more you realize that that isn't going to materialize, the more down you'll start to feel. And you can start to think that it's you that's the problem, when it's not. So rather than going out with a specific idea in mind of something to shoot, this is what I've always done, and I'm doing it more and more now. I'm just more aware of it. I just go out. like don't have an idea of anything you want to shoot. Just go out and see what you see. All right, let's look at some examples in here, because some of my favorite images, none of them have ever been planned, ever. All right, here's a classic, right? This is the star of the show. This is one of my favorite images. In fact, in this book, I think I open the story by saying this is the best image in the book. But this was captured on a morning whereby it was my first ever visit to this location. And I hadn't planned it. I literally drove past it and thought, oh, bit of frost down there. I pulled in, I found the footpath, I went down. Zero planning, didn't even know it existed. And I captured what I think is one of the strongest images in my entire portfolio. Zero planning. So that's just one example. Let me see what else we've got here. All right, here we go. Beautiful lone tree, Patagonia. In fact, I've got a couple of examples of similar images of this, of trees in Patagonia. Even when I'm on workshops with clients, we don't plan, because God, no, because it would fail. You just go out and you explore, and you give yourself permission to do whatever you want to do. Give yourself permission to fail. And in fact, forever in my videos, since the day I started this channel, God knows how many years ago, I've always said time and time again, if you're struggling to find an image, stop looking for an image.
The best thing I've found to do for me is to actually stop trying to find a composition, stop trying to find a photograph. Because when you're walking and you're looking and you're looking and you're looking, sometimes you just can't see the wood for the trees, forgive the pun. So instead what I do is I just actually tell myself, I don't need to get a photograph, let's go for a walk. And as I'm walking, I'm just taking it in, and something will catch my eye.
Okay, just stop looking. And I never really knew what I was saying. But what I was actually saying, although I wasn't aware of it, I was still saying it, was just get rid of your expectations and allow yourself to be creative. And I've said this, I must have said it 50 times. If you go back through my back catalogue of videos, I say it time and time again. If you're struggling to find an image, stop looking. And all that's doing is it's allowing you to connect with the landscape. It's allowing you to connect with what's around you and it's freeing up your mind to consider other subjects than the big view. You know, it might be some leaves by your feet. Let me have a look here, right? Where are we? Here we go. This is a great example. Now, I love this image. This was photographed in Utah. And I tell you what, I was in a phenomenal area surrounded by snow-capped mountains and bright yellow aspen trees with a mountain lake reflecting it all. It was a dream. And I gave myself permission to look elsewhere for images. I just opened my mind to what was around me. And what did I find? A little drainage ditch where leaves had gathered, and then the snowflakes, it was snowing, had hit the leaves, melted, and left these beautiful drops of water. And this was the image that I got, and I love it. I love this image. And again, it comes from not planning. So if I'd have gone with this idea in my mind of this mountain shot reflected in the lake, that's what I want to go. I would have set up, and I would have waited for the light to be perfect. I would have got my shot, and then I probably would have just left thinking I'd nailed it. And the truth is, I would have missed out on this and lots of other images that I got on that day. So that's another example. Now, what I don't want you to do is to watch this video and think that you never have to plan. Okay, of course, planning, there is a time and a place for planning, right? You've seen those epic shots where the sun rises specifically between two rocks or two trees or two buildings, whatever. That you can plan to a T. But those are special events, and those do require careful and perfect planning, and they're very rewarding. Another example of when you need to plan is if you're going to go and shoot the coast. You need to plan. You need to know what the tide's doing, and if good areas of interest are going to be underwater or not, and you need to plan for safety and weather and things like that. Another good example of planning is if you're out and about and you find a beautiful subject, but the lighting and the conditions aren't quite right. Well, now you've found that subject, you can plan to come back when the weather is perfect. You might need mist, you might need the light to be coming from a certain direction. So again, that's great for planning. So if you do have a free day coming up and you're struggling to come up with ideas of where to go and what to shoot, just do these two things, okay? Two things. Number one, check the weather. Make sure, if it's wet, you've got a raincoat. And number two, choose a footpath. That's it. Narrow it down to a single footpath or a network of footpaths. A good footpath that goes through several different environments, through the woods, around the lake, over a hill, perfect. And just go. Just see what you see. Don't worry about anything else, because if you worry too much about other things, you'll start to get doubts, and then you'll either be disappointed or you won't go. So that's it. That's my advice for planning, is don't plan. Sounds counterproductive, but I promise you it's liberating. It's fantastic. Doesn't always work. Don't get me wrong, doesn't always work, but I tell you what, when it does, it's fantastic. My book, hey, shameless book plug. I said book plug, filthy. Yes, I'm getting great feedback from the book. I apologize, I've almost shipped them all. If you're in the UK, yours is coming. It'll be with you. Just hang on a couple more days, and then they'll all be shipped. This is going to be on general sale within the next 7 days. So if you want to buy this book and you go on my website and it says it's out of stock, just next Wednesday, just come back next Wednesday, it'll be in stock, I promise. Getting great feedback. It's so well made. I'm so thankful for the help and advice that I got with producing the book. The paper, the binding, the cover, the writing. I mean, I'm known as Typo Tom. That's what they call me. If you've ever seen my newsletter or my Instagram post, there's usually a typo in there. And I got this professionally edited and proofread, and it's just fantastic. I'm blowing my own trumpet, I do apologise. Right, thank you guys. And once again, thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. If you don't know who they are, well, I'm sure you do. But if you want a website, somewhere to write a blog, post your images, have a gallery, sell, maybe sell your own books, sell a calendar, sell prints, all that sort of stuff, do through Squarespace. I've built a few websites on Squarespace. My Antarctica conference website is Squarespace. It's so easy. You drag and drop, and you can do it without any knowledge of coding, which is the big thing, because building websites is a nightmare. It's just hard. but not with Squarespace. It's super easy. So, go to squarespace.com/Heaton. You can give it a free try. If you like free trial, use the offer code Heaton for 10% off your first purchase. Right, I gotta go back to the packing room. That's where I pack my books. If you're in the UK, just they're coming. And the reason I saved the UK till last is because I can pretty much send them next day. Whereas if you're in America, it takes about 2 weeks. So I kind of wanted them to all arrive at the same time. So that's why I don't think any less of my beautiful British subscribers. Thank you. All right. Oh God, I'm waffling on. Bye.